Hi, this is Preetha and welcome to Dakshin Curry. Aren't we all fond of roadside snacks? I mean, we prepare a lot of stuff at home, but our heart is not fulfilled until and unless we go down to the street and have that yummy roadside snack. Today I'm going to show you a really popular vada, which is also called as Dal Vadai or Masala Vadai. And to know how to make that, you have to stay tuned. There are some very specific ingredients which I use to make masala vadai. Let's have a look. Now here I have chana dal. Now I have used around half a cup, say 100 grams, and you have to soak this for say 45 minutes or 1 hour, not more than that. The idea is to just soak it till it kind of fluffs up, and then you have to grind it into like a coarse paste, not like a very smooth paste. Now I already have this ready here. Apart from that, I am going to be using one medium sized onion chopped, some turmeric, salt to taste. I have a teaspoon of chana dal which I have kept separate, which I will be using in this. Some coriander leaves, some curry leaves which are chopped up, and I have this mixture here. Now what is this mixture? I have combined around 1 teaspoon of ginger, 2 red chillies and a teaspoon of fennel. Now the fennel and the ginger and the chillies, now these are some of the main ingredients which are going to make this into a proper masala vadai. So ensure that you use these. I'm going to be using this entire mixture into this, or probably just 3/4 of this. So let's see how to make it. Now obviously before we get into that, don't forget the oil. How are you going to fry the vadas? So we'll be using oil for deep fat frying and a little bit of water to pat the vadas. So let's see how to make it. Now I have a bowl here. This entire thing into the bowl. Now as you can see, it's dried up a little. That's because it stayed out for a while. Now I'll be adding the onion into this. I'm being a little generous on the onions here. Pinch of turmeric and the dal. Now if you notice, masala vada usually has some dals whole. What people usually do is they don't keep this aside, they just coarsely grind it, so you always have those pieces. What I've done is just kept this separate. I'm adding curry leaves and I'm adding loads of coriander. You can reduce the coriander if you want, but I love the flavor. Now the spice mix. Now as you can see, this is not completely into a fine paste or a powder. This is coarsely crushed, around 2 to 3 spoons of this. Now what I'll do is, once I mix this up, I'm going to taste it. If I feel that I need a little bit more, I'll be adding. Now in the meanwhile, I have some oil here for frying. Let's add the salt to taste. Now I have not added any salt while grinding, so I'm adding the salt now. As you would know, I'm always a little low on salt. It's always better to check the salt later. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to mix these ingredients. Now if you don't want to grind it in a mixer, what you can also do is you can coarsely crush it in a mortar pestle. As you can see, this is a dry paste. If you see your bondas or your medu vadas, it's a smooth paste. What I am going to do is now heat up my oil and just take a little bit of this and taste it. You don't want too much of salt. Salt is just right. Let's wait for the oil to heat up, and in the meanwhile what we are going to do is we are going to pat this. So let's shape this mixture. So I'm going to mix this again once, and I have some water here. If you are not able to shape them nicely, you can use a little bit of water to shape, though usually you shouldn't have that problem. Now what I'm going to do is just shape them into small roundels. Let's make some space here. Now there is always a confusion. What is then parpu vadai, what is masala vadai, what is dal vadai? Now see, in seasons, there are certain festival seasons when we don't use onion and garlic. That time we make a really traditional dal vada, which is used, you use only chana dal in that. If you want, you can use 1/3 cup of tur dal. So if I'm using 2 cups of chana dal, I can use a little bit of tur dal. In that you don't put onions or you don't put garlic, and that is like one traditional recipe. Now when you're using onions and fennel seeds, this becomes the popular roadside snack. Now what we are going to do is, as you can see, the oil is bubbling away. Still, let's just check. Okay, now this is what you need to have, and at this point what I'm going to do is add the masala vadas. I'm not adding all of them because what's going to happen is if I add the entire batch now, it's going to reduce the temperature of the oil and then it's going to take more time for frying. So always better to do it in batches. See that the vadas are moving. Just turn them. Should allow the mixture to fry in oil for a while before you insert the frying spoon, otherwise the batter or the dough sticks and you don't want that onto your spoon. So I'm just going to reduce the flame here a little. So I'm seeing that this is going to fry, and on a medium flame I'm going to fry this batch. Let's have a look. You can see they are nice and brown, and now they're floating on the top. And when we added the vadas in, when they were not fried, we saw that it was settling to the bottom, and once it's fried, it's come on top. That's another indication that these are cooked. Also, we have a nice color, and what we'll do is we'll remove these onto a plate. Now this is really easy, really quick to make. By the time you're chopping your onions or whatever, if you don't have time to soak the dal for so long, you can also soak it for say 20 minutes in lukewarm water. The idea is just for the dal to fluff up, absorb all the water so that you can grind it. Now you have to remember, you don't have to use any water while grinding the batter. If you are going to use water, then the vadas are not going to be very crisp, they'll be much harder on your throat. That's not what you want. So now let's wait and let's fry this entire batch and then let's serve it. Now you know how to make masala vadai, right? So you need not go to the roadside to have this, you can make it at home. It does not take too much of an effort. So you have to serve this with either tomato ketchup, or if you want you can also serve it with a traditional coconut chutney. You can see the recipe for coconut chutney on Dakshin Curry at India Food Network. So make this recipe. I am looking forward to your comments. Do not forget to subscribe to India Food Network, and until next time, it's Preetha signing off. Ciao.